Welcome to Bonehead.
Oh, I forgot to put my shades on.
Why?
Well, don't
You've got a damn puppet on your
You're in
head.
a house.
Surrounded by enemies.
So it's every other day of my
Are you
life.
saying my bald head is too bright for your eyes?
Actually, now that I look at it, a bit.
It's a natural oily.
Anyway, welcome. You're making out with the puppets.
Oh my god.
All right,
Don't call him a puppet.
welcome to Bonehead. I'm Joe Lewis.
You know, labels. Who cares?
Labels McGee and James Thomas.
He's fluid with his name. Anyway,
He's got fluid in him. What?
Well, yeah, he's just like how many?
Yeah, hold on, let me get
percentage
some of
water?
that out.
That's disgusting. That's not even funny. That's just disgusting.
It's hilarious.
Yes.
You're
There's a
grody.
3-year-old out there watching right now. So anyway,
I won't let my kid watch
With
this
terrible
crap.
parents.
so it's one of our children. It's one of our children. Anyway, so our last episode was about
Crap.
movies that suck that we love. And turns out that we couldn't get through.
We like too much
We
crap.
like a lot of crap. In fact, crap may be one of our favorite things.
Yes.
I didn't know. So what we're going to do is follow up and do a 2-parter, and this is our 2nd episode, and we promise this will be the last episode
No,
where
we
we go
don't.
over
No,
crap.
we
Why
make-
We
promise
make
things?
that promise.
I'm not making that
it's like
promise.
we live on a farm and Hollywood is cows and they keep churning out more crap. We may have to revisit crap.
Is that a metaphor or a simile?
It's a simile to a metaphor.
Is that those things you went and banned and went like this?
You almost struck me, you fancy.
I know I almost didn't complete the job.
And you're the smart one out of your family, right?
I am?
I maybe. Shauna's the sexy one. Anyway, except for your mom.
We're putting together a crack commando of Jennings's.
Jennings is-
The sexy one.
the operative word is crack.
Rambo first does.
So let's go ahead and get started because our audience
I guess I should have said Dumbo, but then Disney would have sued
yeah,
me.
they're totally gone. All right. So for our first movie, they told me to go. The other 2 boneheads don't know what I'm about to say, and
Hold on, let me go. Oh, you stupid idiot! All right, continue.
I wish I had that cigarette put out on you. I'm just saying. Anyway, the other 2 boneheads don't know what I'm about to say. This is a childhood favorite. This movie is terrible, but my mom watched it all the time when I was growing up.
It's always the mom's fault.
I know what it is.
She had a crush on the lead guy, and it's going to start talking about sequels that suck. I'm going to defend Grease 2.
Oh.
Did you see it coming? Not till the end. Now, here's the reason why Grease 2 is fun. I like some of the songs. It has Michelle Pfeiffer in it.
Was
It
this
is
her first movie?
I don't know if it's her first movie or not, but it's directed by. I had to look up the director. She only did this and
Nora Ephron?
yes, Nora Ephron. Yeah, that is exactly who.
For
did it.
3 people that just got that joke, why are you watching our show?
And if you go out and watch the Nora Ephron films, by the
You've
way,
got mail.
pattern baldness. Patricia Birch, I don't know who she is. Anyway, my mom, the lead guy, was not played by John Travolta
No.
because nobody came back to the movie except that one lady, Dee something.
D. Ryder.
That's C.
It's a sequel.
Anyway, moving right along. The guy that played the love interest was Maxwell Caulfield. Does anybody remember Maxwell Caulfield? He was the British guy in those British movies through the 80s. He later on played kind of like the swarmy. What's that word? What's
You
the word?
played a Swami?
He played a swami. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my god. No.
At Bonehead Industries, we're always about cultural sensitivity.
I'm going to climb up this rope that is attached to nothing.
I don't think that's
Isn't
an
that what
actual
Swami
swami.
does?
No,
I
that's a
don't think
mime.
What?
What?
You've lost your damn mime.
Oh my god.
They played a flute and the rope went up and then they climbed up. It was
All right, back to Grease 2.
Oh my god, he knows nothing of culture.
It has some cool songs. I can still remember some of them.
Sing one.
Cool Rider.
All right, I regret this.
Cool Rider.
Mistakes were made.
Let's move on.
Back to school again. Gotta go back.
So far, you're not
Back to
selling me on
school
this.
again.
So it was basically.
Oh, we gotta go. Oh, we gotta go. Back to school again.
Oh my God, that just.
So
happened.
basically, what you're telling me was
Do it for
was-
your country. The red, white, and the blue. Let's do it for your country. See these two people. He's trying to bone, and he's got this lady in a bomb shelter, and he's telling her that the bombs are going off outside so he can nail her. And they have this song. Let's do it for your country. The
So-
red, white, and the blue.
So it's a family film.
Yeah.
No, so
Well, 4-year-old Joe saw it. I don't know what's wrong with me now.
4-year-old Chad saw Nightmare on Elm Street. I don't think that can.
So what I was going to say, so basically what you're telling me is what they did was they built a time machine and took High School Musical and showed it to a bunch of third graders and said, remake this.
I've
then
never
put 'em in
seen.
poodle skirts.
I've never seen High School Musical. I have no idea.
Huh.
Have you seen it?
No, I haven't.
Well, then you don't know.
You totally.
You're just
seen
a
it.
child who
You've
wanders
totally
into the
seen it.
room,
No,
Donnie.
sir. No.
Just wanders
I have
into the
seen The
room.
Descendants 1.
You
and about
swoon
2 or 3
over
episodes.
Ephron's abs, just like the
Nora,
rest of us.
Nora Ephron.
Nora Ephron. Oh my God.
Full circle!
This is not the Nora Ephron train.
I am so sleepy in Seattle.
Oh my
I hope you're
God.
proud of that.
Oh, shut up.
Because nobody else is.
Puns are the lowest form of humor. I'm going to tell about
Did you
12
like
of them.
Michael? Isn't that a Nora Ephron
Yeah, I do
movie?
like Michael. I don't know. Is it? Is it?
You
yeah,
not
it
in the
is.
movie? Oh, really?
I haven't
It's
seen it in a
shitting
while.
on Nora Ephron.
Love is all you need.
So anyway,
James, what's your movie?
Grease 2. Why does Grease 2 suck? Why does everyone hate Grease 2?
I think it's because
Because-
it's equal to Grease 1. I mean,
You may be right, because honestly, it's not good, but it's not as dreadful as people say it is.
to be honest,
Have you seen it?
I've tried. Haven't gotten all the way through.
I've seen
Do you
30.
even like Grease, though? You don't like musicals.
No, actually, Grease is one of the few musicals I like.
Really?
Yeah. Grease and Moulin Rouge.
Yeah.
No accounting for taste.
Nah. Yeah.
I prefer Moulin Scrooge.
That happened.
Anyway, I think you're right. I think it's because of Grease 1, because Grease 1 is not only a Broadway play or a musical, it's also a successful film, and I think it's
With
hard
immense
to...
amount of time. And no offense,
Yeah, right. I don't- how do you
meant to
top it?
either Michelle Pfeiffer or Mackay Pfeiffer.
Or Maxwell
Um,
Caulfield,
But
who I had to
don't
look back
think-
down at his name again,
I don't
who
think
my mom
they're-
wanted to bone.
And she still does.
I'm sure.
Oh, forgot. The best musical ever made. Little Shop of Horrors. Thank you.
Little shop of horrors, watch 'em drop. He didn't even know the words, and I may have screwed it up. E.G. Marshall.
E.G. Marshall.
Not
Sorry.
E.G. Daily,
No,
it's
we-
E.G. Marshall.
Flashback to the thing we screwed up last time.
episode, sorry.
Or time before last, whenever.
It doesn't matter.
You want to go, Chad?
No, go ahead.
All right, I'm going to talk again.
Chad's going to take another nap.
If I talk about it, it means I own it. The Black Hole. Disney's The Black Hole.
It never gets not funny.
What? That I own a black hole? You think that's funny to you?
Oh, so many black hole jokes.
Oh.
So little time. And we try to keep it
Jeez.
PG-13.
Jeez, you kids, you tried to give me some culture. No, here's
Tell us about your hole and how black it is.
So I had to make a couple quick notes about this because this movie was made by Disney. It was Disney's answer to Star Wars.
So was the sequel Event Horizon?
Actually, there's some parallels. There are some parallels if you watch it. But what I was going to say, so the background on this a little bit is why is it a horrible film?
It's not very good.
Neil deGrasse Tyson says this is the worst science fiction film ever made when it comes to actual science.
Oh, really? I thought that would be Star Wars.
No, and if
Because he
you
didn't
actually,
talk about... I went and saw him live, and he talked about Star Wars, but he didn't talk about that.
And the reason he didn't talk about this is there is no science whatsoever in this. They're next to a black hole. There is a scene where a man gets pulled out into space, and a robot goes out and gets him, and he's perfectly fine.
Yeah, because the closer you get to the Event Horizon, because of the gravity, it's
Yeah, no, I mean you would be
pulled like a noodle. Yeah,
yeah,
spaghetti.
and also the cold depths of space. You would just
Cold
die.
dead?
Your
Cold
eyes
dead.
would
Can we
pop.
write cold dead?
You could
The cold dead whole black.
Anyway, but so black hole. A couple things else about it. It has some great actors in it. I will say it's the best movie that stars both Slim Pickens and Anthony Perkins. Name me one other film that stars both Slim Pickens and Anthony Perkins that's that good.
I cannot.
Psycho and Slim Pickens, of course, known for Dr. Strangelove, or for us, Blazing Saddles.
Blazing
Both
Saddles.
starred in Break and Electric Boogaloo.
So a couple other
That is
quick
not true.
things.
Totally true.
That's not true at all.
That's not true. Although we should do a whole canon episode.
Anthony Perkins is in it, so you got Psycho. You got a great cast. You got some other things. There's two robots, Bob, which is voiced by Slim Pickens,
Yeah.
and Vincent, which is voiced by Roddy McDowall. So
Who would later play Peter Vincent in Friday Night? Oh my
It
God!
all
That just
comes
blew up the
together.
internet.
So, but here's a funny story. Alan Dean Foster got hired to write the novelization for it. When he actually saw the script, he said, this script is so bad, the science is so bad. Long before Neil deGrasse Tyson, he said, I'm having a hard time writing the novelization of this. Now, the reason this is relevant, a little bit of film background.
I think he wanted to take my Grease 2 time just so he could talk.
God, Alan Dean Foster.
Notice,
James
I'm not interrupting him this time.
Alan Dean Foster ghost wrote a little.
Did you just check your watch?
Yeah, because I'm waiting.
You know
to
when
talk.
you said you weren't going to interrupt him? You know when you said you were going to interrupt him?
did.
You may have actually interrupted him.
Alan Dean Foster is
Things happen.
famous in Hollywood because he served as a ghostwriter for a little-known fellow known as George Lucas when he needed to write the novelization for Star Wars. Alan Dean Foster, and you can go, this is all true. A lot of what later became canon in
Robert Stack just showed
Empire
up.
Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi
Yeah.
was written by Alan Dean Foster. Alan Dean Foster also was the one that started the expanded universe of Star Wars with the novel Splinter of the Mind's Eye, which was the first.
You get that out with some
universe.
tweezers.
Now, the other part of that is Alan Dean
I'm
Foster.
still trying to figure out how Robert Forster wrote this stuff, but he was in the movie.
Alan Dean Foster also wrote Star Trek: The Motion Picture. So,
He wrote the screenplay or the novelization?
screenplay.
Okay.
So,
the motionless picture.
Motionless picture. That is absolutely true. But so Alan Dean Foster had his hand in all three of these universes. The other funny part about this is that
This is what happened when you let James
the
speak.
movie. Well, I'd be done if you would not be late. Anyway,
I don't think that would be true.
I don't think
Yeah.
I got my Grease 2 time in.
this was
So
made.
you can have a whole ball.
This was
of Suck It.
made for. Did you have anything interesting to add about Grease 2?
It's a fascinating picture.
About Grease
It's
2.
a fascinating picture.
Oh my god. Anyway,
It insists upon
so
itself.
the thing about Black Hole is there's a couple things that make it real. You're gonna keep laughing. I'm dealing with children.
Oh,
Yes, he is, but he also still has us.
I'm dealing with anyway. Made because of Star Wars, not a doubt about that. Star Wars originally had a budget of $11 million, went on to make $700 million, blah blah blah, whatever.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
$42.
Star Trek came out the same year as the Black Hole. Was
Okay.
considered by Paramount actually, even though it made great money.
hold up. What?
1970.
Paramount, not Paramount. Continue.
You're bald, you know that, right?
Why do you gotta
Anyway.
make fun of his follically challenged noggin?
Anyway,
I love it. and
Star Trek:
accept
The
it.
Motion Picture was $46 million.
I mean, I make fun of it too.
budget, including advertising, went on to make $139 million.
Yes.
So a hit, but not what Paramount wanted. They wanted Star Wars number. Why am I bringing all
I
this
feel like
up?
you're going to Canada
Why am I bringing
to
all
get to
this up?
Virginia.
Why am I bringing all this up? Because Disney expected that surely the Black Hole, it's a Disney film, will go on to be Black Hole, Black Hole, Black Hole, Black Hole. I'm going to do this when you start to talk about a movie. Actually, Spot's going to. Get him, Spot. Anyway, so
Black hole sun,
Disney-
won't you come and wash away James?
you all are a different type of hole. Anyway, Disney. It was the most expensive Disney movie made at the time ever made. It was $20 million. $20 million, and then they actually blew more money on advertising it at the time. They spent $6 million just to advertise it, so sure that it was going to blow everything else out of the water. Has over 550 special effects in it. Literally a special effects extravaganza. Why does it suck? Because they neglected to have a script. How much money did it make? $34 million. That was it. It failed.
So it's actually technically it broke even though. Would you say 20-some million?
$20 million and
To
then
make.
$6 million for advertising.
Yeah.
So it was a
For anybody out there, really quick, the rule of thumb is if you have a $150 million film, you need to double that for it to be profitable, right? You can't just make 150 because there's so many costs, and that's just what they call the negative cost, like the cost to just be able to show that. It doesn't take into account all the advertising, all the other crap that goes out with it. So you basically have to double your budget to consider it a moneymaker.
So why is it a film that sucks
even.
that I say is still good? Well, because it is pretty. And the thing about it is, it's also relevant to film history if you are a Disney fan. It was Disney's first PG-rated film. It was the first film...
Oh, that was hard R.
Disney executives said it was
what
actually...
the first R-rated Disney film is? Down and Out in Beverly Hills.
Disney... it was the first film Disney
Before the black hole,
made.
boobs everywhere.
It's the first Disney...
Bambi's Knockers.
Oh my god. That wasn't made by Disney, and you're a terrible human being. Anyway, the funny part,
Sleeping
though...
Beauty total skin flick. God.
Disney executives...
You gonna just lay there and sleep, are you?
Disney executives viewed it as the first film made for adults that Disney made. Now, the problem with that is, by the way...
They left out the boobs.
Well, that, and it's a very adult plot. I mean, there's essence of Frankenstein. There's essence of, is there heaven? Is there hell? Is there... So it kind of goes that Event Horizon way. All that to be said, the problem is, though, it also has two goofy, cartoon-looking robots.
Who have a shootout scene.
Yeah.
And it's called Black Hole.
Son.
The other thing about it is, though, it's a lot of fun to watch because it also has actually, I'm going to read Roger Ebert's review of it because it was
Oh my
God.
This better be one sentence.
You better top it out because we couldn't talk towards the end.
It is one sentence. Hold on, you made me actually lose it.
Thank you. Haley just pointed out that you've been going at this for 45 eons.
This is actually, Roger Ebert said, takes us all the way to the rim of space, only to bog us down in a talky melodrama.
He said rim and black hole. Black hole rim.
Anyway,
now I can get behind that picture.
The end result is, though, the villain of the film is actually one of the most interesting villains in any Disney film.
Played by Maximilian Schell.
Yeah.
Right?
He's one of the, and he's one of the most interesting because the ending of the film, without giving much away, he actually accomplishes a great boon to humanity. And it kind of ends with him also paying the ultimate price for his hubris, if you will.
Isn't he in the robot as he goes into the black hole?
They merge, and you don't know, and actually you basically get a scene of him going to hell.
Okay.
And the other...
Which leads us to the sequel, Event Horizon.
Well, it's close, and the
which
robot...
was originally entitled Black Hole Rim.
But
no one can find a job.
The final... we're never going to have jobs again.
Rim job.
Hard PG-13. Anyway,
I don't think Rim Job's going to go over PG-13.
Anyway, the end of...
Tweet out Rim Job and let us know if you think that goes... Is Rim Job too much for PG-13?
Anyway, the other part about it is that he is successful in the experiment, though.
Cut to somebody waxing a basketball.
People being able to travel through. But the ending is really ambiguous. It's almost... they almost tried to create, to me, 2001 A Space Odyssey for the Star Wars set. And that made it too big, too bloated. But it's still a pretty film to watch in parts. Parts of it are really well done. And then there's also a scene...
So you just basically showed my point for a previous episode of why 2001 Space...
No, I think 2001 doesn't need to be made for the Star Wars crowd. It's fine. But what I was going to say is, parts of it are very, very pretty, and then there's also a scene where, I kid you not, the robot's supposed to be spinning around, and you can see a hand come up.
Force move.
You can see a hand come up and actually turn the robot on the scene. Like, it's obviously a stagehand, and they didn't bother fixing it.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I did not know.
So there you go. Beautiful film in parts, bloated plot, pretty to look at. Don't give it too much thought.
Real quick, we were talking about this beforehand. They actually went to Lucasfilm to buy some of the camera rigs, and Lucas wanted too much money, and they ended up building their own, which turned out to be superior. Now, can we never, ever, ever talk about the black hole?
I have to talk about it one more time, but go ahead.
How do you have to talk about it one more time? You talked about it for an hour and a half.
You'll find out in a few minutes.
An hour
You're
and
wasting
a
time.
half.
Let's move on.
All right.
Chad.
So with the discussion of Grease 2 and the black hole, I'll continue the sci-fi route of Grease 2.
That's not a...
And discuss... it's actually, you know, I said I didn't like musicals. This is, I guess there is an argument that this is a musical.
What?
Earth Girls Are Easy.
Oh, God.
Black hole, black hole, black hole, black hole!
Now, for you all who haven't seen Earth Girls Are Easy,
Go out and watch it now.
Everybody.
I've seen it. I saw it as a kid. I didn't even care for it as a kid.
I loved it as a kid. Watched it repeatedly. I will admit, I watched it probably a year ago. Didn't hold up.
Now, and correct me if I'm wrong, that doesn't indeed star Jeff Goldblum.
Jim Carrey, one of Jim Carrey's
Carrey,
first films.
Jeff Goldblum. No, Jeff Goldblum is in it. Yeah.
Jim
But he's the
Goldblum,
Jim Goldblum
was his stand-in.
You know what's even worse? When he said Jeff Goldblum, I thought Jeff Daniels. I'm like, no, Jeff Daniels isn't in that movie, you twit.
He was too busy
Jim
being in
Carrey.
The Butcher's Wife.
Anyway, so, yes, Jeff
Look it up.
See, there's a butcher's wife. Being in the butcher's wife.
Jeff
that he
Goldblum.
blew right by.
Jeff Goldblum.
I did not blow The Butcher's Wife.
He's still saying about Black
The
Hole.
Butcher's
yes.
Wife blew me. What an amazing movie.
Anyway, Jeff Goldblum, and
Piece of
then
shit.
actually a pre and living color, Damon Wayans
Yeah,
and Jim
say
Carrey.
Wayans.
Oh.
And it was actually co-written by one of the stars of the movie, Julie Brown, not of the downtown variety.
I was about to say, that's not the downtown one.
No, this is the...
So she was an uptown girl?
Live,
Uptown girl!
was she living in an uptown world?
probably this one was.
Now, for you all that don't know, in the 80s and 90s, there was this thing called MTV. It was called Music Television.
And they showed...
And they actually showed music on it. They did not have a Teen Wolf series. Keep going.
Anyway, so this is technically it's a musical because they actually do break out into a couple of musical numbers. But the director really hasn't done a whole lot other than he's mainly known for music videos. Shocker. Julie Brown, doing a musical, hires a musical director. And I don't really have a lot to say about this movie other than it was absolutely...
I think I can hear my son crying upstairs.
Yes, I can hear it too.
I don't like
I think he's mad over the black hole, but Earth Girls Are
or
Easy.
Earth Girls Are Easy.
Yeah.
I can't explain why I really like this movie. It was bizarre. Like I said, for some reason, a blue, a red, and a yellow alien through hair removal and a suntan immediately become white, black, and olive skinned.
Jim Carrey, I never thought of as olive skinned.
Jeff Goldblum.
Oh, I knew where you were going.
I know.
How can you go from The Fly to Earth Girls Are Easy?
Did that come right after Fly?
I don't know, but I mean, Gina Davis and Jeff Goldblum were a couple for a while.
Oh, that's right.
And they're both in both movies.
I know.
So,
Never made that connection.
well, of course you didn't.
Just like earlier with Mac and Me.
Mac and Niche, hashtag McDonald's.
Yeah, I never made the connection. By the way, we're not talking about Mac and Me because we all agree it
not
is
a good
awful.
film.
It's not good. It's
fun
not
to
worth
watch.
watching, unlike Earth Girls Are Easy, which is worth watching.
Munchies is better than Mac and Me.
Oh, I'm bringing up Munchies.
I am so sorry. Spoiler alert.
Now we got to jump right to me talking about Munchies.
Go ahead.
But no, we're going to talk to your next movie. But
No,
yeah,
I'd rather talk about the Munchies.
No, so we're talking about your second movie. But no, it was just a weird movie, and from the late 80s, early 90s, about three aliens who come and all they want to do is have sex with Earth women.
Which, I mean, was part of the 80s.
Except Jim Carrey. He was a little off. Damon Wayans had his hero to zero moment, which is where I first learned that line.
I honestly thought the movie was dreadful when I was a kid.
I loved it as a kid. I watched it
I may like it
repeatedly.
better now, but
I remember it
I have
airing
no-
on Comedy Central when Comedy Central had nothing else to air. And I just remember they used to have the announcer, which was Penn.
Penn and Teller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was one of their first
They
announcers.
had a lot of them down.
I mean, it had an all-star cast. I mean, it had Damon Wayans, Jim Carrey, Gina Davis. It even had Michael McKean in it as a surfer dude.
Oh man.
So anyway,
All right.
that's my pick for first. What's your next one, Joe?
Man, there's two or three that I want to talk about. And honestly, I'm going to point it to, and I want you to tell me which one I should do. Should I do this one, or should I do this one?
You should totally do the first one.
Free Jack. Anybody seen Free Jack? Sticking with science fiction.
I love Free Jack.
And you want to talk about a cast. Emilio Estevez.
Mick Jagger.
Mick Jagger. Anthony Hopkins, right after he won the Best Supporting Actor Oscar for Silence of the Lambs, right?
Yeah.
Rene Russo.
Okay, I couldn't remember who she was.
Rene Russo. Oh, not done. Amanda Plummer's in it.
Yep. You're missing somebody.
Jake Johansson.
Thank you.
Or David Johansson.
Throw it up. Boom. He feels hot.
Hot. Buster Poindexter. He's also in
You're
it.
giving me motion sickness with that.
Who's also in Scrooge. If
like
you guys don't
Jagger.
know who Mr. Johansson is, he's in Scrooge. He plays the cabbie, one of those characters that everybody always remembers.
And the very classic Car 54, Where Are You?
But it is not a good movie. But he is in a movie I do like called Let It Ride that nobody's ever saw that we may do in a future episode. All right.
And Car 54, Where Are You? Because I love that movie.
That's a terrible movie.
Al Lewis is in that briefly.
Yes, he is.
Anyway, so Free Jack has this hell of a cast. It was directed by this guy named Jeff Murphy, who went on to do Young Guns 2, Under Siege 2, Fortress 2. He liked to do a lot
Fortress
of secrets.
2. I didn't know that about Fortress 2.
But that he directed it?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
You've never seen Free Jack, have you?
No, I haven't, but I've seen Fortress 2.
Well, you need to...
Well, Free Jack, it takes... All right, Emilio Estevez is a race car driver, right? And he, somehow or another, in the future, rich men can pay this company to basically, right before you die, right, in an accident, they'll go back in time and take your body, and then they put the rich man's essence, mind, whatever, or woman, into that body.
It's a reverse. It's a reverse looper.
Right, it's kind of a reverse looper, absolutely. Only Ryan Johnson's Looper is a modern day classic, and Free Jack's a POS that I just happen to enjoy.
I enjoy it as well. Continue.
And I can't believe you've never seen it.
I'll be honest. I think I remember watching probably 15 minutes of it as a kid, and then thinking, "Isn't this supposed to be New Jack City?" and moving on.
Well, the thing is that it takes place in a dystopian future.
Yes.
Of course, everything's bad. It's only 20 years later, but it looks like it's 100 years later, and everything's all it is garbage everywhere.
Everything with the pot.
Everything with the pot quick.
Trump.
Yeah. There we go. Anyway, why don't you say something else about hating guns so we can make sure that no conservative
let's make sure we never get any of that good conservative money.
Anyway, so it's not a good movie, but it has a cool plot. It has a great cast. Anthony Hopkins is maybe in it for 15 minutes, overacting, really.
Yeah.
Emilio Estevez, I've got nothing funny to say about Emilio Estevez.
I actually have a somewhat serious question.
But it has some even for the early 90s, it had bad special effects.
Oh,
Do you remember that?
No,
they even
awful.
looked like shit at the time.
Yeah.
I was about to say, how does this compare to Strange Days, which has gotten some sort a little bit of more appreciation?
Strange Days is directed by Catherine Bigelow, who I think is an auteur. I think she's a great filmmaker.
That was written by James Cameron as well.
Strange Days?
Yep.
And they were both married, but that's beside the point.
Beside the point.
Yeah, so Catherine Bigelow, I would say, is an actual filmmaker, whereas
Because Strange
Jeff
Days
with a voice.
Strange Days has aged oddly.
I haven't seen it in a long time.
Part of it is dated, but part of it is it has in some ways became more relevant.
It's an interesting, flawed film, whereas Free Jack's a piece of crap.
It's just fun to watch.
That's just fun to watch.
Straight
That's
up
the
fun to
difference.
watch.
Because I can't sit here and rip on Strange Days for two reasons. It's got Ray Fiennes, right? I haven't seen it in a long time, and I haven't seen Free. Actually, I was going to go back and watch Free Jack, but I was afraid I'd just hate it. That's it. Anyway, if you get a chance to check out Free Jack, it's a crappy movie. But if you like science fiction, it's probably worth an hour and a half. I don't know that there's any really science in it, but there's plenty of fiction. And it's got Mick Jagger of the Rolling Stones, my favorite band of all time.
And Spot has some moves like Jagger.
Seriously, I'm going to break your arm.
All right.
It's making me nauseous. I'm going to puke all over your
Haley, tell him he's
sweet
next.
lap.
Throw a rock at him.
James,
Haley,
give us your piece of crap that you're going to go on.
Haley.
Come on, James.
That you're going to tie into American history, literature. I got nothing smart ass to say to your piece of shit. Go ahead and tell us what it is.
You done?
No.
You done?
No.
I'm waiting to hear so I can just rip you
Just put
apart.
your hand down your pants to keep yourself entertained. All right.
Oh, look. Cheetos.
And give me your other hand because I also I'd like a taste.
Second film is terrible. And it's so bad on the source material.
I've never seen this.
Man Thing.
You haven't seen it?
No, he won't let me
Man
borrow
Thing,
it.
you can take it home after this. Man Thing, like I said, I don't talk about it unless I
wouldn't leave it in
do
your
own Man
house.
Thing. Here's the funny thing about Man Thing. I love Man Thing as a character, and that he's not in this movie.
Swamp Thing's totally better.
Man Thing came first. Don't
Swamp
make me.
Thing's better.
Funny story about that. I'll get to that in a second. So Man Thing was originally as a character.
Man Thing is kind of a stupid name. It's right up there with He-Man.
You son of a bitch.
He-Man is a really dumb name.
Yeah, it's. Is he a man? Oh wait,
Or is he a
he?
I got in an argument with somebody at work about this the other day. Moss Man, all right, that bastard has moss on it, and that makes sense.
Yeah.
He-Man, Skunkor, I bet he's stinky.
Neckcore. Oh, he has a long neck.
Buzz off. Oh, look, he looks like a
many
bee.
faces.
He has
Yes,
many faces. He-Man, that's stupid. It's
Ram
redundant.
Man.
He rammed shit.
Okay.
He
so
drove a
Man
Dodge.
Thing-
I got no powers, but I got 4-wheel drive.
Ram Man had a Hemi.
So Man Thing, as a comic book, is a very interesting character. He was created by, as most things, Stan Lee had a hand in his creation, but Roy Thomas, Conway, a couple other people.
Chad had a hand
Tim
in my
Conway?
pants.
Yes, Tim Conway created Man Thing.
God, I love his dwarf.
I bet you do.
Dorf on Chad.
That's an adult film. Anyway,
Man Thing, directed
Man
by
Thing.
Brett Leonard.
I'm
who
going to get to
directed
that
Lot
in
More
a
Men.
second. But Man Thing was, in the comic, it was an experiment gone wrong. He was trying to recreate the super soldier serum that created Captain America. Things went wrong. He was betrayed, blah, blah, ended up in the swamp.
Bitches be crazy.
Took on all the powers, so he's very, very strong. But what makes him very interesting in the comic book is that he really only can hurt you if you're afraid. So if you have, for lack of a better term, sinned, if you have done something wrong, and if you view him as a vengeful spirit, those that know fear burn at the touch of the Man Thing. That was the slogan. Now, when they made this film, they neglected to read any Man Thing comic books and basically did treat him like Swamp Thing. There is none of the things that make Man Thing interesting in this movie. Matter of fact, he's a villain. Mm-hmm. He's not seen as a superhero. In the comic book, Man Thing loses his humanity. He is no longer, he'll never change back. And later on, they rewrote Swamp Thing to be like that too when Alan Moore wrote him.
Yeah.
But Man Thing did it first. And what actually, in the comics, that works out for him because he's seen as completely impartial. And he ends up at one point, at least for a while, becoming the guardian of all reality because he's unbiased. He doesn't care. He believes the DLT should be punished, all that stuff. What does that have to do with the movie? Absolutely nothing.
What does that have to do with this show?
Well, what I'm getting to is
I'm going with
that's why this sucks.
Ad Fab.
Yeah.
That's why this sucks. You made a movie called Man Thing and neglected to do anything with Man Thing, which we'll come back to Brett Leonard in a second.
But aren't you supposed to like what we're talking about?
Yeah, and here's the funny thing about that is this film does suck. It has, however, some really cool kill scenes in it.
Actually, I think it's a beautiful film.
And I was
Visually,
gonna say,
it's a beautiful
and
film.
the scenes in the swamp
are beautiful.
are well done.
Yeah.
They're very dark but very beautiful. They're very well done. So in that way, it's good.
It's
the problem,
a terrible movie, though.
It is a terrible movie. They basically Captain Planeted this character and went, oh, he's mad.
I don't remember Captain Planet being a horror movie.
Well, but he's upset.
It depends on your frame of reference.
He went.
If you worked for the EPA,
but
or if you're a Reaganite, I suppose.
You can watch this, Chad. So I'll give this to you. You can watch it. But he
Let's watch it now.
Instead of being a scientist, he is a Native American shaman who gets trapped in the swamp because Ted Sallis, well-known Native American shaman name in Seminole tribe. Anyway,
Fascinating.
He gets turned into the Man Thing and goes on.
Make these this long.
Now, no, what I'm actually getting to though is here's what's funny about that. Brett Leonard directed this, as you said.
Who
Brett
directed Lawnmower
Leonard
Man.
is notorious for directing things and not paying any attention to the source material. What's the Lawnmower Man short story about?
The Lawnmower Man short story is quite simply put, it's a guy who sells his lawnmower, trades it in for some tires and some other stuff, and decides to hire out his lawn being mowed. And then one day gets a new guy who mows the lawn by eating it and ends up killing him and eating him. That it is not a very good.
There's a line that he said. He said, "My boss told me to do it this way from now on," and his boss's name is Pan.
Yeah. So
mythology.
I actually forgot that. The only line I ever remember is because it's in the movie. Is when the cop is talking. The part of him's in the bird bath, and he goes, "The bird bath? Yeah, the bird bath." Well, that's actually straight out of the short story. That's the only thing. It's not a very good Stephen King short story.
Sued to have his name removed.
And had his name removed.
Well,
I actually like Lawnmower Man, though. It's on my list.
Here's the funny part about that, though. Brett Leonard adapted that. Brett Leonard also adapted Hideaway, which is based on Dean Koontz story.
Yeah.
And Hideaway, the book, ends completely differently. It's a very quiet, very subtle ending.
And he did an autobiographical film called Leonard Part 6.
No, that's not true. But
it's about Bill Cosby, and we can't talk about
it. We've been asked by our attorney never to mention him again.
You know,
anyway,
get the pudding.
Man Thing, he does the same thing. He can make a pretty film, but God, he can't adapt anything that's actually true. This, by the way, though, is right before.
He also directed the Source, the Highlander, the Source,
yep.
right?
This, though, came out right before Marvel Comics became a force to be reckoned with. This came out when we had Blade Trinity was the most authentic to comics we had. And so this was the tail end of that time period. So it's an interesting thing.
Chad.
But not great.
All right.
He just spent 20 minutes telling us about a movie he didn't even like.
And I
defend it. It is beautiful to watch. But much like Black Hole, there's not much there.
Much like James's diatribes.
I'm going to do 5 minutes on the movie Joe mentioned earlier, Munchies.
Not to be confused with Monchichis, which mean happiness.
Also, there's another Munchies movie.
That's not related.
It's not related. I don't know why.
If it's got Lonnie Anderson in it, do not watch it.
Yeah, do not watch it. Watch the one with Robert Picardo and Harvey Korman.
Yeah, Harvey Korman.
Who plays a dual role.
Back to Tim Conway.
Yeah, all
of them were on the Carol Burnett show.
I was going to say a la Jack Warden used cars. Because they play brothers.
They do.
One's an archaeologist who finds...
It's been a long time. I forgot that.
Yeah.
I was just talking about Tim Conway and blah, 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 both being on the Carol Burnett show. But keep going. Sorry.
Anyway, Harvey Korman, he plays dual role. He plays a dual role. He is brothers. One's an archaeologist who takes his son, and they find some weird alien / monster in a temple, bring it home, and
that's what you do.
I guess they're gonna make money off this creature, but then he just decides, well, I'm gonna leave and not share this with anybody for a week. Enter the evil brother, who's a cowboy man who's all about miniature golf courses for some reason. This movie makes no sense, people, but it is fantastic.
Really? I haven't seen it since I was a kid.
It seriously is bad. It was a ripoff of Gremlins, is basically what it was.
It's a lower ripoff. I mean, it's more than even Critters.
The monsters clearly are hand puppets who do not have a lot of function. So what happens is it's one munchie.
Don't tell
but if you cut him into pieces, like the Hydra, he multiplies. So how many ever pieces you cut off of this thing,
it grows another munchie.
It grows another munchie.
I swear I don't remember.
So the one munchie gets cut into 4 pieces. It becomes 4, and they go on a crazy road trip, causing chaos and mayhem.
Puppet bigot.
And then it climaxes in the third. Oh my God! I can't with this puppet.
I know.
Throwing me off track.
I know. And it was never planned to have him on the show. It just keeps happening.
Me or the puppet.
But anyway,
column A, column B.
It all climaxes at this the grand opening of this mega golf course.
Climaxes in James's black hole.
And the majority of the movie takes place in this golf course with the munchies running. God, I can't talk because of the puppet.
Wreaking havoc.
Thank you.
Running amok or wreaking it. You could have went either way.
Hold on. For those fans out there of a really not good 90s horror film, Amok.
That's not a horror film.
I mean, it's a Halloween film.
Yeah, but it's not horror.
It's written by Mick Garris.
I got the moves like Jagger.
So the reason. So
Amok.
Everybody loves Robert Picardo in this room. If you don't like
Robert Picardo is the only good character on Voyager.
I would agree with that. But for some reason,
the best character.
This is one of the biggest plot holes of this movie that bothers the crap out of me, and there are many. Robert Picardo runs an ice cream shop. Him, his wife, and his son all work at this ice cream shop. They all have the same uniforms: white shirt, white pants, and a giant ice cream cone stuck to their head that's melting to signify that somebody has shoved an ice cream cone on top of their head. Now, you get first introduced, the munchies go in there to get ice cream, and they wreck the store. Blow it up.
Munchies are dicks.
Now you cut to later that night at the golf course.
Munchies be tripping.
Now you cut to later on at that night at the golf course. Here's this family who their store was just destroyed. Oh, let's play some miniature golf. While they're wearing their uniforms. They never bothered to take off the uniforms.
Maybe their change of clothes were in the store that got destroyed.
Yeah, so anyway, watching it last week, I developed this whole separate plot point of this movie that should have been explored by the director, made this way more fascinating about the fact that Robert Picardo is actually... Oh, don't get me started when you wouldn't even talk Permut. He said it 5 times.
I tone him out. I tune him out.
And you listen to me?
I know.
You have a poor judge of character.
I am not a very
Mistakes were made.
But you know, the fact that he makes his family wear this outfit all the time, the fact that he had some trauma as a child where some bully shoved this ice cream cone on his head and he wanted to wear it as
right.
A badge of honor.
Badge of honor, and he makes his family, and they're all tortured and playing miniature golf.
That's the prequel. You just wrote the prequel.
I know. So why can't we get Munchies remade?
Because of Lonnie Anderson.
So anyway.
And on that bombshell. No, I'm joking. You got anything more to say about the Munchies?
No, that's it about Munchies.
I actually don't remember. Only scene I remember, is there a scene where they're in the desert?
Yes. Well, most of it takes place in the desert.
Oh.
It's all desert located.
Except for
but for some reason, there's a scene with chicks at a lake in the middle of a desert.
I don't remember that.
Except for the ice cream scenes, which take place in a desert. Go ahead.
Because if it's an 80s comedy or horror film, there's always chicks in a lake wearing bikinis being terrorized.
All right, so here's mine. I don't know that it's a bad movie, but I know some people don't like it. RoboCop 2. Now, RoboCop 3 doesn't exist. They never made it. Just doesn't exist. I'm a fan of the director of that, Fred Decker. Fred Decker wrote some really good episodes.
Ruined his career, didn't it?
Yes. Yeah. It wrote some really good episodes of Tales from the Crypt. Did one of my favorite 80s horror films of all time, Night of the Creeps.
Oh.
Did another one that people love, The Monster Squad.
But it doesn't hold up.
I don't think it does either, but that's what he's best known for. But RoboCop 3 ruined his career. So they never made RoboCop 3. RoboCop 2. RoboCop 2 is the last time Peter Weller played RoboCop. He only played him twice. It's directed by Irving Kershner. Irving Kershner is famous for making
Empire Strikes Back.
Silverado.
No.
We're going with Silverado,
No,
right?
it's not Silverado.
Silverado.
So he actually taught Lucas in film school and ended up being the person who directed. He directed
Silverado.
That's Lawrence Kasdan. Lawrence Kasdan wrote Empire Strikes Back.
I'm going with Silverado still.
Irving
I'm
Kershner.
doubling down on Silverado.
Irving Kershner directed it. They got it into production because RoboCop was a huge success. The same thing with RoboCop 3. It was the only thing that was making Orion money at the time, right?
Yeah.
Orion is a studio that went bankrupt in the 90s.
Did they already burn out through that Three Amigos money?
I don't know. You know, they also made Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
They made Silence of the Lambs. So, anyway, RoboCop 2. I've watched it a couple years ago. I watch it about every few years. I actually really enjoy it. But it's got 3 different plots. Didn't Frank Miller write the original screenplay, right?
Yes, Frank Miller, yes.
He wrote the comic book too, didn't he?
Yeah,
right. It's just 3 different plots. There's the plot where there's this drug called Nuke, and people are shooting it into their neck, and it's got the RoboCop 2 robot who's made out of the drug king.
Holy crap! We just in a one conversation brought up two Tom Noonan movies.
Tom Noonan, yeah. Well, Monster Squad and RoboCop 2. Anyway, Tom Noonan plays. Oh shoot!
I forgot his name.
Holy crap! I just remembered it a second ago. Oh, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Anyway, he plays the drug kingpin. He gets killed. That's one plot line, right? Nuke's going on. The other plot line is they're trying to rebuild old Detroit and all the stuff that's going on there. Then there's another plot line where RoboCop gets cut up and has to be reprogrammed, and they put a bunch of stuff into him. Then there's another plot line of the where they're going on strike, and they've already went on strike. So there's like 13 different movies in one movie.
Yeah, it was a mess.
It's a mess. So they never really concentrate on anything. But it has some great
scenes. It's so
entertaining. And the whole battle at the end with RoboCop and RoboCop to Kane. The character's name is Kane.
Yeah.
Right? And the RoboCop 2 is so cool looking.
Yep. No, I completely agree.
That's all I'm going to say about it. I think RoboCop 2 is a lot of fun.
Though he still doesn't hold a candle to Ed 209.
No, it's nothing. It holds the candle to Ed 209, which there's one sitting on my shelf right over there.
Okay, so
We got to go quick.
I
We're
was
running
gonna
out
say,
of time.
this will be my quick one.
There's no such thing with
These
you
are
as
Trick or
quick.
Treat,
Unless he's
not
having
this
sex
one.
with you.
which is what you should watch.
That is a
This is,
Halloween.
By the way, for people listening on a podcast, you're doing a
Trick or
shit
Treat. I
job.
was gonna say, well, Trick or Treat, the one that has Dylan Baker and Anna Paquin and Brian Cox. That's a great one.
You're not
Do that
supposed
one.
to say Cox.
Never stopped your mother.
Oh!
Now, the
I said
other
say.
part,
I didn't say swallow.
I love how the only
the
thing I had to
other
go
one,
was,
and I just found out this is out of print, and people fight for this copy.
That copy?
Because it's the only copy they ever put on DVD. And here's what's funny: if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see the cover. It's got big Gene Simmons, Ozzy Osbourne. They are both in this
Can I get
film.
regular Gene Simmons? I feel that big Gene Simmons would be too many calories for me.
Anyway, this is a movie that was made that tried to do for rock and roll and records and all that stuff what Evil Dead did for books. Which is, there's evil in some of them. You've got to be careful. Dino De Laurentiis made this.
Did they shoot that in North Carolina?
I'm not sure.
Well, we could we could do a whole Dino
But
show.
the entire plot to this show is that there is Sammy Kerr, who is this hardcore death metal rock and roller, and he is banned from performing at his former high school. His biggest fan is named Eddie. He's a kid that's picked on all there. And he ends up, Sammy Kerr dies mysteriously in a hotel fire. Turns out he made a pact with the devil. He's going to come back, all
one
that
tends
stuff.
to do that.
Well,
you get
especially, yeah.
bored. You're like,
Well,
what am I going to do this
So
weekend?
this movie
Satan
hasn't
shows up.
aged as well as Evil Dead has. Doesn't have the talent behind it. What's great about this film, and that's why it sucks. It is not well done. It's very disjointed.
filmed in North Carolina.
It's well, there you go. Filmed in North Carolina, so it
That's where
is.
studio was.
It is literally set up to, like I said, it wants to be Evil Dead. However, they got a lot of. If Evil Dead is college, they're all on vacation in college. This is Evil Dead for the high school crowd. He's picked on high school, all this stuff. Nothing goes right. Has aged terribly. Gene
You've mentioned that.
Simmons plays a DJ, and the story behind that was he was supposed to play the hardcore rocker. He turned it down because he wanted to emulate his hero, Wolfman Jack. So, and Ozzy Osbourne steals the movie. He's only in it for 2 minutes, but he plays a preacher, a reverend, who is against rock and roll and says rock and roll is evil. Which is what the movie is about.
It is.
It's not
music.
a great film, but it's a lot of fun if you don't think about it. And
I've
it's
actually
very
never
much
seen it.
of that time. And it's very much, like I said, it wants to be Evil Dead. It wants to kind of continue that tradition. But it takes Evil Dead and blends it with Revenge of the Nerds in some weird way. And
Chad is
it's
tuned out.
disjointed. It's really bad. It's probably best that he's tuned out because I get to finish talking.
Are you going to... What's your last one?
All right.
Because James just took 42 minutes.
All right, so I'm going to bring
That was
up,
5.
so oddly enough, another movie that could be argued is a musical. From somebody who doesn't like musicals.
Do these
I'm, of
people
course, going to
live-
be bringing up 1987's Disorderlies. Starring
The Fat Boys and...
There are 2 musical numbers in Disorderlies.
Ralph Bellamy?
What?
The old guy.
Yes, Ralph Bellamy.
Ralph Bellamy, if you're a fan of John Landis, Trading Places. Trading Places, he's one of the 2 old guys in Trading Places, is Don Amici and Ralph Bellamy.
Yeah. So,
Or Pretty Woman, he's also on that.
starring the 80s rap group, the Fat Boys. It's known for
Rest in peace.
the Nightmare on Elm Street.
We're
Rap
hoping not to
song.
go the way you did.
The Nightmare on Elm Street rap song that is not Will Smith's Nightmare on My Street.
Which I didn't even know existed until the other day.
Directed by Mike Schultz, who is famous for Barry Gordon's The Last Dragon,
Oh, really?
Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Heart Club Band with the Bee Gees. And then, he's still fairly recent. He's still directing to this day. He's a lot of people show that, oh my God, the damn puppet every time out of the
Blame
corner
the
of my eye.
puppet. Blame
I'm
the
going to
puppet.
burn him alive.
Blame the puppet.
Burn James's hand.
But anyway,
Leave the puppet on.
Ooh, like a Man of Hands of Fate.
so he
Disorderlies.
he directed he's directed several episodes of Arrow.
Okay.
But anyway, Disorderlies. It's about three guys who are in I watched this movie today. A lot of plot holes.
How is it though? I haven't seen. I loved it as a kid. I
still
loved it as a kid.
I loved it today. I watched it today. And
Was
I
it
couldn't stop
funny?
It's not as funny.
But you talked about the product placement wasn't an issue
Yes,
earlier.
there is no. The only product placement is Domino's and Coke. Everything else, you could tell they had to cover everything with yellow tape. Like
Really?
So, yeah, they're all the supply. Like they're in a pantry, and there's all these things, and everything's covered in yellow tape. Like there's several. There's one time I don't even know why they're in a kitchen, and there's 6 bottles of Heinz ketchup just sitting there, and for some reason Heinz yellow tape. There's some pasta sauce over to the side. I don't know what brand it was because I didn't have the fancy pasta sauces from
You
1980s.
just had ketchup.
Yeah, I just had ketchup
For dipping.
But
I don't know
clearly
why
where
they
the logo
needed
is,
that pasta
is
sauce in
yellow
his
tape.
noodles. These noodles just do just fine by
Yeah.
themselves.
So there's just yellow tape everywhere. That was their way of blocking out. So,
Heinz did not want to be associated with those heavy-set gentlemen.
but it makes no sense. Like he goes, it's all about this man who has somehow collected a insane amount of debt from a Puerto Rican mobster for gambling.
Why does it gotta
As
be
one does.
what? Yeah.
As one does.
Why can't you be inclusive?
And he wants to kill off his uncle so he can get his uncle's money so he could pay off his gambling debts.
And his uncle's sick.
And his uncle's really sick, and he's like, I'll just fire the orderlies and hire the most incompetent. And he happens to be reading a newspaper article about the worst nursing home in the entire country, which is in Brooklyn, New York. So they go to Brooklyn. They find the fat boys, brings them to Palm Beach, the palmiest of all beaches.
I hate you.
Disorderlies is not to be confused with a disorderly
Really
orderly,
orderly,
which is a
starring-
Jerry Lee Lewis film.
Jerry Lee Lewis.
We were making this joke earlier, Jerry Lewis. All right, yeah.
So yeah, it's a bad movie, but there are some funny parts, and the fact that these 3 guys obviously have no acting skills, and they're just mumbling their lines, and the only funny parts are actually the slapstick,
Slapstick.
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 Of watching these, of watching
Fuhrer
these,
was Butch.
of watching
The
these 3
Fuhrer was a
overweight
wonderful
gentlemen.
dancer.
Like for example, there's where they're fighting the mobsters, and one of the fat guys falls on them, and for some reason they just go into a coma. He just simply falls over on them, and they're like, and then they pass out dead
You know, as a fat man, I find that offensive.
because you've made some people pass out by sitting on them.
Anyone I've ever had sex with. And on that bombshell,
note-
we are so thankful that you've tuned in to another episode of Bonehead. Next week, we're going to be talking about
The King,
Stephen King.
Elvis Presley.
Elvis.
Oh. Are we going to talk about 3,000 Miles to Graceland?
Oh, we were gonna bring that up.
up. Real quick, 3,000 Miles to Graceland is one of those movies that absolutely sucks.
But it has one of the best scorpion on scorpion fight scenes
And it
ever.
has a great cast. Once again, it's a great cast.
Yeah, great cast.
And I enjoy the
It's
hell
fun
out
to
of that
watch.
movie. I do. 3,000 Miles to Graceland. Anyway, gotta go. Next week, we're going to be talking about The King. Thank you so much
I
for
have
tuning in. Are we ready? Are you going to sign off? This is Joe Lewis.
Give me a pen and paper, I'll sign off.
Spot.
You can't even sign your name. Just make your mark. Just make your
James.
mark. Anyway, toodles, and we'll be seeing you on...
Did that say axe?
Yeah, it says axe. I meant to write "bye" on a piece of paper, and I wrote axe. I blame the pen.
Yeah, it's a pin and the puppet.
Oh my
Pin and the
God.
puppet.
Yes, body spray. Give us money. Toodles. I'm a tortured genius.